Healthy Scratch Red Wings Report, presented by 5v5hockey.com.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Healthy Scratch. It's Buschy with you once again. If you enjoyed today's video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more Red Wings content. Patrick Kane. What do we do with Patrick Kane? Do we want him back? Do we want him gone? I think I want him back. I've got the damn jersey. When the Red Wings signed Patrick Kane, I don't think any of us expected the impact that he would have on this Detroit Red Wings team. We thought that maybe we would get a fraction of what Patrick Kane used to be, and maybe he'll be okay, and yeah, there's some risk, but what if he works out? If he doesn't work out, who cares, right? It's worth the risk, $2.5 million, not a big deal. He exceeded all of my wildest expectations and was absolutely integral to the team's success this year. He really was. He wasn't just a guy. He was Patrick Kane again. He ended up playing 50 games. He had 20 goals, 27 assists for 47 points. So over 82 games, if we take that, we extrapolate it, and he plays all 82, 33 goals, 44 assists for 77 points, which would lead the Red Wings in points. I don't say this lightly, and this is not a comparison, but I have said in the past, Patrick Kane made me feel something that I haven't felt since watching Pavel Datsyuk in a Red Wings uniform. And that was the respect that he got from the opposing team whenever he had the puck. Everyone just backs off. And he is a magician out there. Pavel Datsyuk is the magician. He's the magic man. We know that. But Patrick Kane, Showtime, was the first time that I was physically getting out of my seat when he had the puck, because it just felt like something good was going to happen. The guy scored so many overtime winners, shootout goals, and obviously 20 goals, helped the power play, purely offensive, not a defensive guy at all. We talked about that when he signed. Like, if you're going to think he's going to be a defensive guy, you're just not thinking about this properly. They're bringing him in for pure offense. And from listening to Derek Lalonde's press conference and Steve Yzerman's press conference, they highly regard this guy, and they even said they never thought that he would just even be a better person, you know, where he in the room, he helped the team out, and they, obviously on the ice he did too. But those are the qualities of someone that you'd probably want to keep around. Now, there are issues with that in keeping Patrick Kane, because you play this well, you're going to get a raise. Patrick Kane's exit interview was something where it gave me a little bit of pause. Now, it's the one guy that I in my heart, I really don't want him to leave. And I never thought I'd be saying that, but Patrick Kane as a Red Wing just felt right. And I do want him to come back. I would be prepared to give him a few years, for sure. If that's what he was looking for, I want to bring you back, because you clearly are still at the top of your game and maybe even getting better. Some of the things that he said in his press conference that caught my attention was, I can't wait to work out in the offseason as an athlete again, because we know that the last 2 or 3 off seasons, he wasn't feeling good. Things were painful, had the surgery, had to always worry about that hip. And now I think that hip issue is in the past, and he can go into the off season and attack it just like a professional athlete would, and just work out, get better, get stronger, get quicker. Obviously, I liked the way that he talked about the Red Wings and what an honor it was to wear the jersey, and it's just something where when he respects the organization, he loved the fans. But there was a lot of talk that people broke it down and went, oh, he's gone. And those were when he wasn't saying the words we or us. It was those guys or them, you know, talking about the team almost as an outsider. And that's where I'm going to give you guys a little bit of perspective. Contract negotiations are probably a fickle thing. I want this, but I want this, and we have to meet in the middle somehow. What Patrick Kane is doing, he's been around the block. He knows contract negotiations and what his worth is. He has an agent for that too. But even if he wanted to come back 1,000% and he wasn't going to look at any other teams, you're still going to use some of your leverage, right? So what is going to be important for someone like Patrick Kane going forward? What would he be looking for? And this is something that he did answer a little bit in his press conference. One of those things was that he didn't want to jump around anymore. He wanted to find a home where, you know, he would be here for, you know, a few more years. He was talking about playing for 5 more years. Now, is that something where I'd go give him a 5-year contract? No, of course not. But what would the number be? The other thing too is I'm sure that he's going to be paid more than the 2.5 he was this year, and I would even say double. I would say it's going to be at least 5. That's something, can the Red Wings stomach that? That's a question we're going to answer in some future videos about what can this team do to open up some spots to keep a guy like Patrick Kane, to go after another free agent. Can they make a trade to do some of these things? So I'm looking at this as priority number one. We need to get this guy back before any other unrestricted free agent that we have. Obviously, Sider and Raymond are going to get their deals as restricted free agents, but Patrick Kane, for me, would be my number one priority. I need to get this guy back. So one of the issues would be that it would be a 35-plus deal. If you guys don't know, if you sign a contract when your 35 years are over, your cap hit is on the books no matter if you retire or not. So this happened with Pavel Datsyuk when he left and went to Russia. Because he signed his contract after his 35th birthday, it was a 35-plus deal, and the team was on the hook for that cap hit for the duration of the contract. And that's why they traded his contract to the Utah NHL team. So the only risk that I would see with signing Patrick Kane to like a 3-year deal would be him just falling off a cliff and regressing and just not being who he was this year. I don't see that happening next year, and really the year after either. I think he's going to be one of those players where his vision, his passing is the number one thing we're looking for. The skating might not be there as much. This year with that offseason full workouts, probably going to get a little bit of that step back. He did say he didn't like the way he ended the season, and I remember watching him going like, yeah, he's not really, moving out there very well. So that's something that probably will help. But that's the fear with a lot of players, that they don't live up to their contract number. It's something where I go, anybody you sign, you're going to have those concerns, especially with an older player regressing. But even if he was even a slight fraction of what he was this year, I still want him back. Well, what if he gets injured? Well, what about it? You throw him on a long-term injured reserve like the Vegas Golden Knights, and he doesn't count against your cap. There you go. You're probably asking me, why are you saying 3 years? 3 years is kind of that, not really long term, but it's not short term either. You're here for 3 more years until like you're 38 years old. And it's also the amount of time that Alex DeBrincat has left on his contract. I really do believe that those guys are very close. They've talked about their friendship. That's something that is important to players. I mean, think about it. If your best friend was playing for a team, wouldn't you want to stay there as well? They both got young kids. The families get together, that type of stuff. You see their little guys before the warm-ups. They're, standing there waiting to fist bump everybody. So I think that's something that he will value is, can I play with my friends? Can I be in a spot where I'm here for 2 or 3 seasons? You're making a lot. So I'm looking at a 3-year contract and probably around $5 million. Now, that might be a lot to stomach for a lot of people, but here's some more perspective. And I'm just going to say some names, and you're going to understand what I'm talking about. Kopp, Comfer, Hall, Sherratt. All of these guys were given term with the same amount of money and just aren't as good. So I look at this as more of a skill thing. I don't care that this guy's 35. We're paying guys that are 30 and 31 4-year contracts worth $5.5 million to do nothing close to what Patrick Kane does for this team. And another big thing, and this is something that you guys helped with. You went to these games, the fans really embraced him, and it was something where it was pretty special, where, a Blackhawk coming in, a Red Wing killer. Is this going to be something where it's just like, oh, this is an experiment that shouldn't have happened? I don't think this is like a Daniel Alfredson or a Mike Modano. This guy is not in the last year of his career. He still has a lot to give. And that 3-year window that I've been talking about, I think is something where the Red Wings will be in that playoff push, and they're going to have some of the young guys. I wouldn't mind having Patrick Kane as like the old guy on the team, right? That's been through it all, and that can be in the dressing room and calm the guys down. Because that's something that when he did come in, I feel like he probably did do that a lot and helped the team through some crazy situations, and he still produced. He still got all those overtime, those clutch times. Showtime, right? Like the guy has that nickname. He literally is still Showtime. Shows up in all of those situations and dominates. And I do think he's a smart guy and understands what Steve Yzerman's building here and what the Red Wings are going to be. And if he sees in that 3-year window that they might have a shot, why not stick around? So obviously I'm a huge fan of Patrick Kane and I want him back. Do you agree with some of the things that I talked about? It should make sense. I kind of went through it and went, well, this is what I think I would do, or maybe what he's thinking. But again, he's not going to tip his hand and tell everybody that, yeah, I'm coming back 100%, because then he just loses all his leverage. It's a negotiation, right? So I don't think the wording in his press conference really meant that much other than posturing. And Steve Yzerman even said it in his press conference today, that some of the things that Patrick Kane said in his availability was a little bit like, he basically said it sounded a little bit like posturing, but that he did meet with all the unrestricted free agents on the team, including Kane, and said that, hey, we want to bring you all back. And that's another thing where Yzerman's posturing as well, but did say that he'd be open to bringing a guy like Patrick Kane back. So I think it's a match. I think that this team still needs him in that top 6 role. I think what they need to do, though, is find him an actual centerman, because Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat were together for a little bit, and then, Kane was with Comfer and Perron. That just, it wasn't really a line that I liked particularly. So I think they're going to need to find somebody to play with him. And that's what we're going to go through in a future video with our armchair GM. And we'll try and find somebody to play with Patrick Kane on that kind of second line, basically top 6. So do you guys agree with that? Do you disagree? If you do disagree, tell me why. And if it's just something where, I don't like Patrick Kane, okay, it's got to be better than that. If you're thinking that it's going to be a 5-year deal, I really don't think that's going to be the case. If you think 3 years is too much, we're signing these other players, like I said, for way more than that and for way less production. And I think that $5 million we can find it. The cap is going up, and it's going to depend. And I think that's where Steve Yzerman is going to do his damage. Maybe you think Mo Seider and Lucas Raymond are going to sign for $9 million, and somehow Yzerman gets him for $7 million. You have no idea. That might happen, and we don't know who they're going to bring back and who they're not. I really want Patrick Kane back. I think he fits this Red Wings team, and I want to see him for the next few years.